Today is Christmas Eve. It has been so weird. My dad's old boss, Mr. Steve, came to the house this morning. We hadn't seen him since the funeral. He said he wanted to tell us a story. He starts off by telling us that about 3 years ago, right before Christmas, his wife kicked him out of the house. He had been drinking a lot and had basically stopped loving his family. For some weird reason, my dad left for work early that morning, and he found Mr. Steve sleeping in his car outside of the office. He brought Mr. Steve to our house to let him shower and clean up so that none of the other employees could see him. I remember thinking how weird it was that Mr. Steve was showering at our house. While at our house, Mr. Steve saw my dad reading his Bible while waiting for him to finish. Dad had already fixed him a coffee and asked him to sit next to him. He said that it was no coincidence that he had to go into work early, which allowed him to find Mr. Steve in the parking lot. He then explained that he had been brought to this low point so that God's good could be done through him. He shared the gospel and then invited Mr. Steve to meet his pastor. While talking with our pastor, Mr. Steve realized what he had been missing from his life. Long story short, Mr. Steve asked his wife for forgiveness, and they both started attending our church. That was Christmas Eve 3 years ago, and at that service, they both gave their lives to Christ. Then Mr. Steve explained that while my dad was in the hospital dying, he decided he was going to tell everyone in the office what my dad helped him see. He said everyone loved my dad. Many started to go to church with Mr. Steve and have accepted Christ in their hearts. Mr. Steve told us that we wouldn't even recognize the company anymore. The whole atmosphere has changed. He said the impact that Dad's death has had on the company has been unbelievable. Next year, a lot of the guys at the office are going on a mission trip to Haiti with our church, the same trip that my dad had gone on many times. They want to go in his place. Before Mr. Steve left, he told us one more thing. A week before my dad died, he went and visited him at the hospital. Before he left, my dad gave him a letter for us to open as a gift on Christmas Eve. Dear Rachel, I'm so sorry for the sadness I've caused in you and your mom's life. I hate that I won't be with you tomorrow for Christmas. Tomorrow when you are opening gifts, I want you to remember the best gift that I can give you. Think about where I am. I will be celebrating Christmas in heaven with Jesus himself. I will be listening to a multitude of angels, singing carols and proclaiming the Christ. Who knows? Maybe there will be an actual reenactment of the Nativity with the original cast. Soon our lives will be rejoined, but until then, please know how much I love you and will miss you. Live your life for Christ, as it is truly the only way to live. Love, Daddy.